Let's jump right into today's explainer, because we are looking at a truly incredible 18th century ruler from Rajasthan. We're talking about a figure whose sheer brilliance didn't just win battles, it literally changed the course of history. We are looking at the architect of an empire, the legendary Maharaja Surajmal. Historically, he was actually called the Plato of the Jat tribe, which is a pretty fascinating intellectual moniker, right? Usually, when we think of 18th century military rulers, we just picture brute force, swords, huge cavalry charges. But a comparison to Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, that really challenges us to rethink what actually makes a military ruler truly great. So, let's dive into this. Part 1, the Jat tribe's Plato. That prestigious nickname? Well, it was built on 3 core pillars: immense intelligence, political wisdom, and military genius. As a powerful Hindu Jat ruler, Maharaja Surajmal realized something absolutely crucial. He knew that long-lasting power required outthinking opponents, not just outfighting them. It's one of those timeless strategies that's just as applicable to modern leadership today, honestly. And these exact traits are what drove him to establish the modern city of Bharatpur. He didn't just conquer land, you see. He used his intellect to engineer a massive, fortified ecosystem of defense. Which brings us to part 2, the invincible Iron Fort. So, how exactly did all that intellectual brilliance translate into physical achievements? Well, it was literally built right into the ground with Lohagar, the famous Iron Fort. As the founder of Bharatpur, Surajmal designed a stronghold so formidable, so tough, that it became a legend in its own time. Think about it. In an era where heavy cannons were just shattering stone walls all over the world, Surajmal decided to use thick earthen mud walls for Lohagar. And this was a stroke of genius, because those walls were designed to actually absorb the shock of incoming artillery instead of crumbling under the impact. He essentially engineered absolute invincibility. And this brilliantly illustrates the true scale of that architectural genius. Just look at who it withstood. You have the unstoppable force of the Iron Fort going toe-to-toe against the highly advanced, heavily armed British military. And the outcome of this massive clash? Multiple failed attempts by the British to capture it. They threw absolutely everything they had at Lohagar, and the mud walls of the fort simply absorbed the blows and stood their ground. It is a staggering testament to Surajmal's foresight and design. Moving on to part 3, capturing the Red Fort. Now, a truly great leader isn't just a defender, right? He was also a fiercely formidable conqueror. His rise to absolute power was incredibly methodical. Step 1, he had to secure unity among the various Jat factions, because internal unity was the absolute prerequisite for everything else. Then, step 2, once united, he forged that coalition into a massive, highly disciplined military machine. That careful, step-by-step preparation culminated in step 3, his ultimate triumph, using that very army to actually capture Delhi in 1761. Now, what's really interesting about this historical timeline is that it's basically a masterclass in empire building. He started with the physical foundation of establishing Bharatpur, then he consolidated human power by uniting his army, and then achieved the seemingly impossible in 1761, defeating the Mughal forces and successfully occupying the legendary Red Fort. I mean, it's one thing to build an unbreakable fort in your own territory. It is a completely different level of strategic genius to march directly into the capital and take the Red Fort. And that leads us to part 4, a protector's enduring legacy. So why did he conquer and build all of this in the first place? Well, beneath the armor, beneath the strategic intellect and the massive earthen walls of Lohagar, Maharaja Surajmal was deeply committed to his subjects. Historically, he's remembered as a benevolent king and a fierce protector of his people against foreign invaders. The conquests, the fortifications, they were never just about his own personal glory. They were tools serving a much larger purpose, to ensure his people's regional independence and safety during an incredibly turbulent time. Which leaves us with this thought-provoking question to wrap up today's explainer. Does true historical greatness come from the forts a leader builds, or the people they protect? Maharaja Surajmal somehow managed to do both, seamlessly blending the mind of a philosopher with the absolute might of a warrior. His dual legacy of impenetrable architecture and fierce devotion to his subjects makes him, without a doubt, one of history's most fascinating rulers. Hopefully, this explainer sparked your curiosity to dig even deeper into the brilliant architects of our past. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.